Alright, you want to talk about perhaps the most fun you'll have at the movie theater all year long? Let's talk about Bullet Train. How long have you got? So Bullet Train was of course directed by David Leitch, who made his name off of the John Wick movies, and most recently directed Deadpool 2. And he has assembled a ginormous cast of super talented people who are here for some unadulterated thrills and just insane action. And this cast is of course anchored by the one and only Brad Pitt, who's known only to us as Ladybug. Ladybug is an assassin who has a really fun gimmick of being unlucky. This is because one too many gigs of his have gone off the rails, and he's just determined to do his job peacefully and get off this damn train. But fate may have other plans, as his latest mission puts him on a collision course with lethal adversaries from around the globe. And all of these colorful characters have connected yet conflicting objectives, all aboard the world's fastest train. First of all, give this movie due credit that most of the action takes place aboard this train. It really does live up to its name. The stunt work on this movie is second to none, perhaps in the entire year, which should come as no surprise considering David Leitch directed this thing. The fights in this movie are so creative and incredibly fun to watch from beginning to end. The way they're choreographed and just the kills, the way they happen in this film, everything just feels so organic and unchoreographed. Unchoreographed, is that a word? If it's not, it is now. But joking aside, I mean, I just could not help but be in awe of all these stunts and the work that went into it. Stuntmen really are unsung heroes of Hollywood, and I feel like they deserve all the credit in the world when these are done right. And with someone as experienced with the action genre as David Leitch is, you know that he wanted to get this action right, and that he certainly did. I had so much fun, not just watching the action, but laughing at this movie too. Because, oh my god, is Zack script funny. You have so many incredible one-liners from every single zany character you come across. And the reason why it's so funny is no matter how outrageous this situation may be, every actor and every character sells this so seriously and melodramatically. That's the very definition of a farce, which is one of my favorite tropes in all of comedy. And it's handled so incredibly well. I mean, what more can be said about Brad Pitt that hasn't already been said? The dude is so freaking charming. And he has proven himself over the years to be one of the most versatile actors working right now. He can do super intense thrillers like Seven and then turn around and be this charming badass in Inglourious Basterds. In fact, Ladybug as a character reminds me a lot of his character from Inglourious Basterds. Almost like you mix a little bit of what he played in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You throw a little bit of that in there, and you get Ladybug. And Brad Pitt is just amazing in this movie. He sells the action so incredibly well. He sells this whole situation so incredibly well. And you really do feel for this character and his bad luck. He's like the Neville Longbottom of action movies this year. It's like, why is it always him in this situation? But amazingly enough, Brad Pitt is an icon, but he was not the show stealer to me. That distinction goes to the team of Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson playing a set of twins. You heard me. They are in fact twins in this movie, and nobody can prove me otherwise. But in all seriousness, I was howling with laughter every single time these two were on screen together. Every scene they share, they're stealing it. Brian Tyree Henry plays a very tough English gentleman who's really into a specific children's TV program. And he's also got a really good way of reading people and looping it back into that children's program that I was mentioning. And I don't want to get too deep into details about that because that joke comes into play more often than not, and it's so amazing. He shares excellent chemistry with Aaron Taylor Johnson, who may just give the best performance of his entire career in Bullet Train. And I've liked him in a lot of the action stuff he's done. I loved him as the main character in Kick-Ass. Heck, I even liked him as Quicksilver to an extent. But man, did he blow those other two performances out of the water with Bullet Train. I just could not take my eyes off this guy. He oozes charisma every single time he steps into a specific car. He has that swagger about him. He has that calm demeanor. And of course, that mustache. Aaron Taylor Johnson looks like he's having the time of his life in here. All these actors do. All these really famous people coming together to make this is just amazing to me. It's an all-star cast, what can I say? That's the best way I can describe this. You get Andrew Koji in this movie. I loved him in Snake Eyes last year, and I wanted to see him in a better movie. This certainly makes up for Snake Eyes, in my opinion. I thought Andrew Koji was great. He has such a tragic backstory to him, and I just couldn't help but root for this guy. Across the board, all these actors are perfectly cast. They're all phenomenal. A lot of them are just excellent at selling the outrageousness of this moment, and a lot of them sell the action scenes really well. Bad Bunny is in this movie, and I realize that Bad Bunny is probably the most famous rapper and the best-selling rapper in the world right now. And I realize a lot of people were kind of doubting his ability to be in an action movie, but as a wrestling fan, I know that Bad Bunny has performed in a couple of really amazing matches over the last couple of years, and he's held his own in that action department, and he's really, really great in the fight scenes he has. It was so much fun to watch him flourish too. It's just a great, colorful cast of characters that we've assembled here, and there's just, I mean, I could go on for an hour about every single one of them. There's just too many to count. You'll find yourself latching on to at least one or two of these characters. To me, that would be the twins, Brian Tyree Henry, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Brad Pitt as a main character and an anchor for this whole ordeal is just perfect casting. Absolutely loved it. The writing, the CGI was really good. The editing almost felt like something out of an Edgar Wright movie, which is interesting. The kills in this movie are absolutely brutal as well. And the kills also play into a lot of really great jokes that had me in stitches on the floor. And honestly, this is some of the most fun I've had at the movie theater all year so far. My theater was absolutely rolling in the aisles. They were having such a great time with this too. But does all this mean that Bullet Train is a perfect movie? No. While I found the second and third acts of this movie to have a really frenetic pace to it, and you really feel the urgency, the first act is kind of a slog, in all honesty. Not to say that a slow burn is a bad thing, but honestly, when you look back at the whole picture, with how the first act is paced, it kind of makes the movie feel inconsistent in some ways. Yeah, you get introduced to all these characters, and there's an array of colorful characters in here, as I've mentioned already. But once you kind of figure out why each character is on the train, and once they all come together, that part is really good. I'm just saying it took a little longer than I would have liked to get to that inciting incident. And while I'm on the topic of introducing characters and what have you, yes, this movie does have a tendency to go the Edgar Wright, Quentin Tarantino route of going back in the past and doing some flashbacks to provide exposition. And if I'm nitpicking, honestly, that technique felt a little bit repetitive. Doesn't mean that the way this was all executed was bad, of course not. There were some cases where this technique had me thinking, okay, yeah, this is starting to all come together and make sense. The puzzle is starting to come into fruition. But there were cases, especially as you get closer to the end of this movie, where I was just thinking, haven't we gone through this already? So long story short, while the script is very, very funny, I feel like at points it can be a tad bit inconsistent in terms of pacing. But besides that, I had an absolute blast with Bullet Train. If you guys are action movie fans, you guys are going to be eating really well this weekend with this, as well as Prey on Hulu. It's a little bit something for everybody if you're a fan of this genre. I'm gonna go ahead and give Bullet Train an A-. I'm sitting here honestly kind of stumped that this is getting mixed reviews. Then again, Deadpool 2 wasn't as universally acclaimed as its predecessor, so this doesn't really surprise me all that much. But I, for one, thought David Leitch did a fantastic job with Bullet Train, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. Now, if that means Bullet Train sequels, I am not opposed. But let me know what you guys thought of Bullet Train down in the nifty comment section below. Do you guys want to see a sequel to this? Who is your favorite character out of this colorful cast? I cannot wait to continue that discussion with you guys, and then some. I can't wait to discuss all these exciting topics in movies and TV. If you guys are looking to join a community on this medium that discusses all these fun topics, what the heck are you waiting for? This is the place to be. Smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell right next to it so you don't miss a second of this action, and hit that thumbs up button as well. That would be much, much appreciated. Very, very helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon. Keep your eyes peeled out for my review of Prey, and I'm going to try and catch up on some of these other streaming movies that are hitting this weekend. So, lots obviously that we can discuss. I'll be starting the Hobbit trilogy series of reviews. Should be a great, great time with that as well. All three of the original Lord of the Rings reviews are already uploaded for you guys to enjoy. It's busy over here, but that's the way we all like it. Y'all are the best. Thank you all so much again for your continuous support. With all that being said, Backtalk, commence!